Hello, my name is Anatoly Motkin. I'm president of StrategEast. And today our StrategEast live discussion, online discussion panel is dedicated to GovTech industry in Eurasia. First, let me introduce our distinguished guests. Rashad Azizov, Head of Innovations and Digital Development Department and Ministry of Transport, Communications and High Technologies of Azerbaijan. Edmunds Belskis, Chairman of the Board in Latvian State Radio and Television Center. And Baizhan Kanafin, CEO in Documentolog and leader of GovTech Working Group for Digital Kazakhstan State Program. In the Eurasian region, technology has the potential to boost the government efficiency, transparency, responsiveness, and citizen trust. What steps should be taken by local authorities, international institutions, local and global IT industry to embody the full potential? The first question I would like to address you, Aziz. Local and global tech companies who can become the main partner for the local authorities to implement the GovTech solutions. Who should become? Local, global tech companies, government-owned companies, private companies. How does it look like from your perspective in Azerbaijan? Please unmute yourself.
Everybody, thank you very much for the invitation to take part in these very interesting discussions on this very interesting theme of GovTech and its development in Eurasia region. You know, firstly, let me tell some words about what is done in our country and what is the role of big vendors in this process, because Azerbaijan have done some big projects in their field of development of eGov, MyGov, absolutely the Gov technologies in the regulation process. In e-government development index of United Nations in 2020, our country was have a position of 70th. And also the infrastructure that is very crucial for the development of e-government and gov. We are at the 68th position in the Global Innovation Index. And these figures are not bad, and comparing with other countries of the region, we have quite good positions, and this situation makes the possibility to develop the eGov in our country. eGov was developing in Azerbaijan since 2012, when it was done by the responsibility of our Ministry of High Technology. But 2 years ago, by the decree of the President, we had absolutely new situation when by the decree we announced that the formation of e-government is already fulfilled, is finished, and now we are going to the digital government development process. And at this moment, some of their responsibilities move to their special agency. We have the State Agency for Social Innovations and Civil Services, services to their citizens, and under this ministry there are a special body, the Center for the Development of the eGov. But also at the very moment, the Ministry of Transport, Communication, High Technology get their responsibility to build their G-Cloud. And now we are living at the moment when we are constructing this project, physically constructed, not only physically, but also doing it in the administrative way, because it is absolutely new understanding for different state agencies to move their information to one place, to one center, to one standard, because as a heritage of the Soviet understanding and mentality, most of the state bodies are still thinking that the information they have in their hands is their own, this only belongs to them. But when it is, but it's not doesn't belong to them. This must be open, and also depending on the new technologies that is coming to us, we can use it in absolutely new, very speedy mood in kind, and that's why the process in our country goes firstly in the field that we have the roadmap to move all the governmental informational resources to one place. When I am telling that it is one place, it doesn't mean that one place physically, because the project of G-Cloud consists of different databases, recovery center, main data center, etc., etc. But also at the very moment, the state agency that I mentioned above also is doing a lot in eGov. Not only the portal, they are opening new possibilities to analyze all the information, because the crucial purpose for now is usage of big data, integration of machine learning, data analytics. And especially in that field, we have a lot of proposals of different vendors that want to be involved to the process. From one side, it helps us to decrease the costs, to decrease the risks, because most of them have already experienced these projects in other fields. But from the other hand, of course, it must be done very patiently, and it must be we must understand that government mustn't be depending only from one vendor. That's why different projects are proposed to different organizations, and some of the projects are separated, divided to some models that are done by different organizations. For example, now I can mention one big project that is doing this year. This year, we had the decree of the president announcing the roadmap for development of open government, and one part of it is their smart city project, and we are already starting their smart city project with Cisco, and it's also done in that field. We is doing it at the PPP model, and it's really not only sounds good, but also give the possibility to the country decreasing its costs and other issues. But from the one hand, when you are working with, when you are doing the projects with their big vendors, you must also take into consideration your own innovative ecosystem. Because in most of the countries, the innovative development is one of the priorities, and it must bring their advantages in different fields of economy and other. And GovTech is one of the fields where your own innovators, your own young entrepreneurs can bring a lot, can make new startups and others. So, but mostly because of they are young and the startups are not so strong, there are very great risks. And if you have a good merging process of the big vendors in the process, and absolutely responsibility of these vendors to deal with startups within the country, it can bring a lot, because you get their new human resources, you get more small but your own national companies that can make, for example, different models of that can be used in the GovTech. And from the other hand, the state can make the insurance for both sides, for the ecosystem to be involved, and to the vendors to decrease their risks dealing with their national startups. So for my opinion, for GovTech, their involvement of big vendors is very important, very crucial, because it's is already proved way to integrate their approved projects. But from the other hand, absolutely, you must use your own ecosystem.
Thank you, Rashad. Thank you for your comprehensive explanation. And I would follow up to you, Edmunds. Let's actually at this stage try to explain each one of you as speakers what is the landscape for GovTech in your country, and then we'll keep up with follow-up questions about what could be developed and what could be the benefit for regional solutions and not necessarily for country solutions. So please, Edmunds, could you explain us how does it look like from your perspective in Latvia, the landscape of GovTech there, please?
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and who is watching our conference. I prepared some short presentation, as Anatoly said, be maximally short, but I will show this why we did it and what is the reason of development of GovTech in Latvia. Can you see presentation?
But you better expand it for the full screen because we see the menus.
That's great. Excellent.
Yeah, perfect.
Perfect. So speaking about GovTech in Latvia, we have to take into account the existing progress, and Latvia, as others, Baltic and Scandinavian countries, if we compare with the European Union, we are forerunners of development of governmental solution e-services according to different indexes, DESI index or e-benchmark index. But we have to move further and look for the innovative approach to move faster for automated services. And within discussion with our colleagues in Latvia and in the Nordic region, when identifying why do we need this so new progresses, we went to some acknowledgement of some ideas why we do it, what is the reasons for improvement, for cheaper and better public services, what is intention, how can we technology-driven innovation in solving public problems be open up to the market, to small and medium-sized enterprises. And this refers to your question about is it global companies or the national small companies who will be main players in those innovative technology-driven solution for the government. And I think the answer is both types of companies can be involved, but sometimes for the small systems, it's for small organizations, of course, it's much easier work with a small company, innovative, fast working and fast moving. And on the other hand, as global players can provide already innovative and approved in other regions solutions, which make progress of e-services much faster. And of course, how can we challenge those procurement processes and make them faster? And when we speak about those challenges, and of course they are year by year overviewed, but still all challenges connected with political decisions and financing provided for those GovTech solutions. And always the money is not enough, and we need political decisions to provide fast-moving projects. And of course, this is PPP projects, which is facilitated in different areas. And of course, organization aspects, and when we move faster to GovTech area, we have to speak about the security, cybersecurity, and how can we save the governmental and or people data in different information systems. It was very interesting World Bank article and about this GovTech. I included in my presentation and just shortly ran over that, but then we moved to the specific Latvian case. So the governments must be purposeful and enabling and responsive to those innovation which is created by the market and asked from the different agencies and ministries. And so those define key national missions is essential, and creating what is important to create a regulatory sandbox. How can we in this static or bureaucratic procurement processes, can we move fast with some agile principles, developing a new and customer-focused services? I will run over those World Bank's acknowledgements, and I would like to move to this ecosystem we built in Latvia to facilitate those different type of innovation, and we called it data-driven nation concept, which is already for several years, but now in the last years we put some industry and smart specialization, which facilitates from one side citizen engagement, government engagement, from another side as academia, industry, which provides top innovative solutions for different areas for the industry. For example, bioeconomy, biomedicine, smart materials, smart energy, and ICT. At the same time, they provide a framework and ideas and platforms of development of governmental services and governmental systems. So one of these improvement areas, not from the technological point of view, but of the policy making view, speaking about the new technologies, for example, for 5G deployment in our region, we had a 5G Secretary Conference where very interesting first time we made a policy maker hackathon, which was focusing not on the technology, but on the innovation in policy making area, where different ideas and to compare how legislative processes on national and European level is time-consuming process. You can see it's about 3 years in national level or 6 years in European Union to get some legislative act, and we need to cut at least half of this time or even more to provide a necessary legislative approach. And during this hackathon, there was different ideas how to improve data protection issues, safety issues, different gaps in between legislation and technologies. As we know, technology is moving so fast that legislation is lagging behind. We see this situation with COVID crisis as a, if we can say so, some positive influence for application of technologies, that we now in the whole world acknowledge the digital technologies essential role in our life. Both platforms, digital identity solutions, how can we identify yourself in different platforms, how can we communicate and exchange with information. Speaking about the GovTech solutions, I put some examples just in the last several years, where the official statistic portal for the government, which is added to open data portal, which is working for several years to provide open and clear information of different ideas. Forestry industry is digitalized absolutely for providing all type of processes within the forestry all around the Latvia. You can track anything, any activities which is done in a forest. And when we speak about GovTech solutions and innovative solutions, where the local companies or innovative companies can create products with a human-centric GovTech solutions, when we put together municipality, government, citizens, different service providers, from the government and municipal sector, for example, food provision, public transport, schools, lunches, medicine, services, where you need different type of payments and different subsidies for those people. You get innovative solutions where the mobile friendly solutions are integrating everything together: digital identity, subsidies, accounting systems, and government accounting and tax administrations to provide innovative and easy use of those subsidies for different parts and different people in different municipalities. And this is a great example how the local innovative companies can provide really essential from the added value services to the government and municipalities. And of course, digital identity, I would like to mention that lately we finished the last audit for the KES system for the only mobile digital identity of the trusted e-signature in Latvia. This is an ecosystem for identity acknowledgement and identity approval in digital world, and the mobile solution is acknowledged in the Europe as a highest trusted level. Thank you. It's a short introduction, and then we can move for discussion and about your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Edmunds. And if I may proceed to you, Baizhan, the question is, it's actually a double question. First, I would like to hear about your company, company Documentolog, and with you, what you are doing and how the local government officials use your products. The second is about your work with GovTech working group for Digital Kazakhstan State Program, and actually what is the digital landscape there at your part of the world, please?
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Anatoly. Thank you, guys. First of all, let me introduce myself. I'm CEO of a software development company in Kazakhstan. We are one of the leaders, so we have our own product, and it's quite popular in our country. Yes, and I would say that all our government parties and almost quite a lot of big private companies, they use our product. Yeah, it's a very short and very brief introduction about our company, but I would like to proceed with something that would be more maybe interesting for our visitors who watch us. It's about current status of in our country concerning IT and e-government and digitalization. Well, as for something that we can be proud of is that recently United Nations issued a ranking, and our country got in a very high position for e-government. So we were placed on 29th, I would say, among the world. So it's quite high. But I would like to mention that if you are ready or not, it's exactly how your government services and how all your country was functioning when they faced this coronavirus crisis, when everyone has to stay at home, when everyone was really locked down at home. So do all IT services, government services, e-government services continue functioning after they have to be stayed at home? Can people, for example, work at home and continue fulfilling and continue fulfilling all their obligations? Well, I would like to say that in our country, in Kazakhstan, we were quite, I would say we were quite ready with this situation. So we all our, first of all our government services continued working. So almost every services can be obtained online. So we have our government portal, yeah, where all our citizens of Kazakhstan or guests of Kazakhstan can take all needed services from, for example, I don't know, from you know, putting in a queue for a doctor or taking some new digital signature issuing. So almost all the services can be obtained. It's very, very, I would say, I mean, the readiness of our government services were on a high level. But what we could, what we faced and that we weren't ready of is that we had high load for our education and medical systems, especially for education systems, where all children had to stay at home and they cannot come, they cannot be gathered together, for example, in the classes, and all lessons had to be given online. And we actually have a lot of ahead of us to prepare in this area, as well as for medical systems. Yeah, so that we have a lot of stuff what we need to do in order to provide for our citizens all the services that our doctors can so that our doctors can provide online. Yeah, for example, that's what we are doing, and especially what is meant for. We have here in Kazakhstan, we have state, I mean, national state program. It's called Digital Kazakhstan. Yeah, where all areas are described. That has to be that has to be developed in the future 10 years, 5, 10 years. And the first area is infrastructure, because Kazakhstan is a very big country and it's the 9th among the world. So we have big territory. So infrastructure is one of our concerns. So we have to build optical fibers and so on. It's the first, and the second, we have a lot of concern and a lot of attention we pay for our digital services, for GovTech. And I would like to say that for this area we have a very good initiatives. Yeah, so all our services can be interoperated with each other, and all we have initiative that private business can use these services as well in order to provide for our citizens something additional and useful services based on based on the data that they can get from the government databases. It's a very big step forward, I would like to say, so especially from us, from the private sector, because I'm exactly the representative of private sector. So it's I would say big step ahead, and we are continuing for I would say for this direction. And of course, what also is going on here, it's I don't know. I would like to say that we have here local initiatives for the local economic zone, especially for IT companies, for financial companies, that give for all companies special tax obligations and special, I would say, law obligations. So I like English laws. I would like to say here. So we have this special authorities, so that this allows for our companies to have a very attractive conditions to work here and to prosper further, I would like to say. So from my point of view and from my perspective, Kazakhstan currently is on a good shape for the digital, for e-government. We have several areas that we have to continue on working. And what's the most interesting, our national digital ministry, they created these working groups, and for these working groups, they have one representative from private sector and one representative from government sectors. And these two leaders, they work together in order to work out and provide the solutions that would be useful for both parties, for state parties and for private sector parties. I hope that it will come up with the better solutions for our citizens, for Kazakhstan. And it's very shortly current status, what is going on in Kazakhstan. So coronavirus is something that no one expected, but Kazakhstan economy, Kazakhstan government services, they were quite ready for this crisis. So thank you. That's what I wanted to say so far.
Thank you, Baizhan. And getting back to you, Rashad, in regard of developing the IT sector, the GovTech sector in Azerbaijan, who do you think should be the investor? Who should fund this activity? International financial institutions or the government authorities? And what should be the reward? So, I mean, what is the KPI? Is it successful or not successful?
Anatoly, in different cases, it can be done in different ways. For example, in our country, we have several projects that is done now. And for example, one of them is the public internet that is provided in different places, in the parks, in their state agencies and other. It's done by PPP model. So we have some local company that is doing the infrastructure. Of course, it's get their security issues secured by state agencies, but the state give the possibility for private money to come, make the investment and get their the result. So even the state get the money from this process, not making the investment. In the big projects, the local companies, of course, are not so comparable with the big vendors. So that's why dealing with big vendors, you can giving them big projects with big amounts. So at the result, from the other hand, you can make the responsibility for them to invest to the ecosystem that will do in the future, that will be the basis for the future, because every country in their long-term perspective must decrease the dependence of vendors. Of course, it cannot be done absolutely, but nevertheless, we must do in such way, especially because of their personal data issues, security issues, and others. In some projects, the big vendors are very interested to make the investment at the very beginning and to make the pilot projects to prove the results and other issues. And after that, of course, they increase somehow the costs. But from the other hand, it's decreased the risks for the government. So you must analyze the balance of every situation, but this sector is developing very fast, and the speed of the development is crucial. And when you are going from the e-government to the digital government means that all the government is considered to be one whole institute, not divided, separated, different ministries, when you can tell that this ministry is already very electronified another not. Some services are electronic, others no. When you are speaking about the digital government, it means that from the one hand, you have their citizen, from the other hand, the e-government, digital government. It means that you must have absolutely digital ready agencies, state agencies and others. I suppose in most of Eurasia countries, the situation is not so good. Yes, of course, there are a lot of development, but we must speak frankly. There are different, not even different countries. In one country, different ministers are at the different levels. So that means every situation, every project can be considered, of course, but unification. There one standard for everybody in this service, in their human resources, in their security issues and others now becomes very crucial. And that's why when we can provide these issues, after that the investment from big vendors can be more interesting for us, because big vendors is looking for money. Firstly, of course, they can invest. They want to invest, but only in the countries where the risks are decreased. And what can the state do for it? It must decrease the risks by making most of their state agency ready for this digital transformation. So, as I mentioned in the first question answer, it must be done in different ways. Even if you are doing with private countries of the country, they are also interested in the investment. We have such projects in different fields. And you know, in our country, there are a lot of projects that are done now in digital way. For example, we have e-housing project, mida.az, when their houses on the low prices are spread between the population. The project is done absolutely by Azerbaijan company. Yeah, but when you are speaking about their smart city that must be, for example, implemented in the whole country, it's better to implement proved, already experienced project of some big vendor, of course, using their some models of our own companies. So that's what I want to tell in that issue. The state can invite their investors to this process, big vendors for them to invest, because in countries of post-Soviet region, when we are making the SWOT analysis, most of the experts mentioned that the strength state system of regulation is one of the strong sides, strong points of in our situation. When the state, when the government want to do something, it have very good mechanism to implement in very short period what it wants. So of course, first investor is state, but also we must do a lot to involve the private investors to this process.
Thank you, Rashad. And I would like to proceed to you, Edmunds, and to ask you, Latvia is member of EU, and you are part of different European programs to develop the single digital market and other issues which has been discussed. And one of the priorities, as we know, for EU for the next years is the Green Deal and digitalization. And part of digitalization is also the GovTech. And I would like to ask you a couple of questions. First, if it's helpful for you as a country, that you are part of a big bloc of big union that have a common challenge that everybody copes with. And the second one is, what do you think, you know, this region, Eurasian region, not bad at all, let's say as an understatement. Do you think your experience and your GovTech solutions, are they scalable to other countries? Could you become a role model as a country with your terrific solutions that you have exposed today for other countries like Azerbaijan, like Kazakhstan, like maybe Ukraine and others, please?
Yes, several questions. At first, To be in European Union give us many added values. At first, we have a common goals when we speak about as well for the technological development, as well as the principles of the governmental organizations we want to build in those digital technologies. And within the discussions with the smaller and bigger countries, we find the best solutions. Regarding the financing, we have several models, and the participation in European Union provides us access to different funding programs, for example, reconstruction funds, structural funds, Horizon, Interreg programs, which provides additional financial input additionally to the governmental budget finance programs, which allows to move much faster with different digital projects in governmental sector. And those program is a essential part of the new ICT project in governmental sector. Regarding our experience, we are happy to share our experience or development of ICT tools and e-gov solutions with other countries. And when we speak about the sharing of experience, I'd like to acknowledge that my experience discussing with different representatives from different regions, we are on the equal level, and each of countries have their success stories where we can learn. And when we come to Latvia, we are a medium-sized country, if I can say. I don't like the word small country, but we are flexible to implement new ideas. For example, the government took decisions several years ago to go for paperless communication between governmental and municipal institution. So there's no paper allowed for several years. That means digital trusted signature is used everywhere. So, or take decisions that digital trusted signature is provided to any person, unlimited usage and free of charge, and other interesting ideas. So when we speak about this governmental approach and involvement of private investors, additionally to those European Union funds and different programs, we are moving for the centralization of e-governments. I'd like not only just putting everything in one box, but moving to so-called competence centers in different parts of the government, which takes responsibility for a unified and co-shared platform. Is it tax administration? Is it state treasury, which keeps eye on a big platform where everyone is using and co-sharing those products and services. Regarding to private sector, we are moving for the application programming interface implementation and interconnecting the governmental registers and open possibilities of private sector to invest and take those data and provide additional services to citizens and compete with each other to provide the best quality services. But regarding to investments, every private sector wants to get back their investments with a small profit. That's why the government have to choose where to use budget investments and build a system which is not a profit-making system, and where to open competition between private sector and allow and make this legal framework and sandbox for playing in for the private investors, and then to make the best quality and return the investments in some period.
Thank you, Edmunds. And the next question to you, Baizhan. We understand that GovTech has nothing to do without digital literacy. It means that how to motivate the population to acquire basic digital skills, because we know that in many countries, even in Estonia 20 years ago, but in any country, people, at least at the rural areas, right, they're not so acquainted with a computer. So what do you do in Kazakhstan to get, because even if you have the best solution and people are not able to use it, it worth nothing. How do you cope with this challenge, please?
Thank you, Anatoly. Yes, that's a really good question, and it's a really big problem, especially in here. In a very such a big country like Kazakhstan. We have something like 19 million population, and in the cities live something like 45–50%. So 50% live in the suburbs, in some small towns. Yeah, and that's a really very good question. So especially here during this coronavirus crisis, a lot of people had to learn how to use our e-government portal, how to use computer in order to continue classes for children. Yes, I would say that we faced this problem that a lot of teachers and a lot of families even don't have dedicated computer for children, and especially families who have 1, 2, 3 children, they have this problem that everyone has to use its own computer. So yes, that's a problem, and with this problem our Ministry of Education actually faces and deals. What we do is, of course, the ministry dedicates some budget for special digital resources for educating, for providing some knowledges, and some online courses for people. The second, I would say, second solution is that we applied, I think, a new teaching program so that IT skills and IT classes, they start from the very first year in the school. Yeah, I'm quite happy to say that here in Kazakhstan, even our president, our government are quite aware of importance of IT technologies, and I would say that they have a special attention. They pay special attention and dedicate special, I would say, hope for future IT development in our country. So far, I would say we continue to work on this area. We have several challenges that we face, but I hope we will resolve it, and we start the 1st September prepared for this coronavirus stuff. By the way, we actually here expect that 1st September all children will be starting their classes online, so they probably will not go personally in the school. So we are preparing for this case scenario. Yeah, I would say that we are ready for, especially we are glad to say that our core network ready to sustain this increased load. Yeah, so internet speed, mobile network speed are quite high and can provide sufficient speed for video surfing and video content. The only stuff is, of course, continue educating, increasing some level of proficiency and knowledge of some suburb population. But it's a demand, it's a need for nowadays. I hope we will continue for that. It's something that is going on here.
Thank you very much, Baizhan. And that question, we have 9 minutes left, and I would like to, each one of you have like 3 minutes to answer one question which is between business, government, and politics. but it's still technological. And we know today that there is a huge struggle between the United States and the western part of the world and China on 5G technology in our countries, and any countries actually all over the world. And we understand that the GovTech, beyond being more efficient, it brings more accountability and transparency. It's also a technological solution that is based on specific technologies. And as these technologies are about the governmental data, it's also about the governmental exchange with other countries. And we've heard also within our discussion panels from Deputy Assistant Secretary of State, Rob Strayer, that only the trusted vendors, which will be deployed in different countries, would get allowed to communicate with American service and to exchange information with the United States. What challenge does it create for you as a government official who is in charge of GovTech in Azerbaijan? And actually, what is the solution for this?
Of course, for the countries such like in Azerbaijan, we are not big state that can have possibility to argue with big transnational companies. Now the big transnational digital companies are making the policy in the world. Nevertheless, we have to think about our sovereignty and the digital sovereignty. From one hand. From another hand, our country mustn't stay out of the digital progress. And that's why state have to do something with it. That's why we have to develop our own IT sector. Development of the IT sector is absolutely connected to the big vendors, because the companies within the country are the partners of big vendors, and that means that their triangle of vendors from one hand, their own national companies, starting maybe at the moment like the startup or innovators, but they must be bring up till they will be their company, IT leaders in the IT, maybe in the region. It can be done also. This is their way, and the third part is their government making their ensuring of this process. This is the way for Azerbaijan and for countries like ours in the future. Now, for example, I'm taking part in their discussions of the UNESCO artificial intelligence. They're in the process on preparing the recommendation. I'm involved in this process also. These issues are very crucial now at the moment, because in the artificial intelligence issues, there are the point that the big countries, China from one side, USA from another, are the leaders that are making the struggle, the comparison between each other. The small countries have to follow one of them or to have their own position. But for countries like ours, we not want to struggle. We want to get the benefits from the technology. That's why absolutely sure that we have to involve vendors, develop own IT sector, and of course increase the digital literacy in the country, because if your citizens know how to use the technology, they can do most of issues themselves, because now we are living in the world where the technology have no border.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this answer. And for you, Edmunds, you are a member of European Union, and we know what happened in UK, for example, who have deployed Huawei equipment, and they declared that they will get clean of Huawei equipment till 2027. What happens with 5G, for example, networks in Latvia, and when it concerns the Chinese technology and the European Western technology, what decisions do you make, and how they're based on the series of the vendors who are implemented in your digital solutions, including the GovTech solutions?
It's a hot question and discussed in different levels and in political levels, technical levels, governmental, public servant levels. When we speak about 5G deployment, then of course, as I mentioned, in Latvia, we organize so-called 5G territory forums. It's a platform where all interested parties from the Baltic Sea region is coming together and discussing. And when we discuss about technology, specific technologies, we of course take some criteria in advance to make decision or not make decision, use one and another technology, specific technology. And this collective approach is most important, because we are not alone with mobile technologies as well as the 5G technology. And we have to agree with our neighboring countries where the roaming is the most annual and daily particularly activity when our citizens and traveling in the Baltic and Nordic region as well. When they move in the European Union, we have to agree on the common principles. Concerning operators, we see different interesting approach. On the handset level, there is no problems to anyone to use any kind of providers from Western and Eastern countries. Of course, when we speak about 5G infrastructure equipment, the operators are discussing with existing providers. For example, for majority of Latvian mobile operators, the Scandinavian technologies as some historical partners, and they are moving forward with this cooperation and looking for the new possible cooperation as well in the 5G technologies. And we see that two of mobile operators last year already launched the first 5G base station for commercial use using Scandinavian technologies. So yes, regarding the United Kingdom, we heard different discussions, which is changing in the last year, but it's up to national security authorities to identify those possible threats or not, and then take into account the future of digital governmental organization, governmental processes, and industry security must be taken into account.
Thank you, Edmunds. And Baizhan, just if you can wrap up in 1 minute, from your perspective, China is your neighbor and the United States is far, but they also have some superiority in the technology. And we have literally 1-2 minutes. If you can just wrap up, how does it look like from your perspective, please?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to say that we have several pilot projects for 5G. Of course, in cooperation with the Huawei, with the Chinese company. We have heard also about policy and the cases that the European Union and England actually were taking place. But I'm not authorized to speak from the government position, but I've heard that we launched 5G in our capital and in 2 of our big cities in Astana and in Nur-Sultan, in Almaty. And I hope it will continue with the 5G technology penetration. As for concerning this is spy technology and something, I have no actually idea what our government or national security forces think so far. I just say that I'm saying that we have here in Kazakhstan several pilot projects for 5G, and it's already launched.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Baizhan, and thank you to you, Rashad, and to you, Edmunds. And actually, your success in developing the GovTech is quite impressive. I'm sure that we will keep watching on your activity, and also I'd be happy if you will share your activity with others. And I hope that in the nearest future we'll get back to this issue, and maybe we'll discuss some common report on the GovTech status in Eurasian countries. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, Anatoly, for organizing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, dear colleagues. Bye.
Thank you.